I would like to invite Elena Marujo to come to the stage to do some questions to Daaji. Um, I could do a formal presentation about Elena, that she's a chair of UNESCO, um, and a very famous university teacher. But most of all, she has a wonderful and beautiful heart. That's what I love the most about Elena. Thank you, dear Elena, for accepting the invitation to come and to ask some questions to dear Daaji.
Wow, what an honor and a blessing to meet you and to be here with you today with this amazing community of people who you have been inspiring towards peace and common happiness. I feel a bit like a child, excited and pleased and also fearful of being here. And thanks to Maria and Vasco, I have the privilege to be the voice of some of the questions that we gather from the community. And the first one is as follows. The video we saw was incredibly inspiring. How did the focus on regeneration, education, and health develop within the Heartfulness meditation framework? And how do you envision the growth of heartfulness in Europe aligning with these initiatives?
These contemplative heartfulness practices, at its core, there is one maxim that guides us, and that says, be in tune with nature. Lead a life that is in tune with nature. So, when we began establishing our community in India, especially in Hyderabad, it was a very arid and deserted land with hardly 5 to 600 mm of rain. So we first decided to let's have water first, let's harvest it, and then we can support these plantations and trees. And a lot of families moved into that premise that the children, and we wanted children to get involved. And later on, we found that these children used to travel almost hour and a half to 2 hours for their schools every single day, one way. I said that's a bit too much because they spend 3 to 4 hours just in commuting. So we thought of opening the school. So that's how Kanha, Heartfulness at Kanha began the educational institution there, see. And children started planting, children started doing a lot of things which we old people can't bend and do things. So they were our great volunteers and they learned a lot from the process. So in no time, you must have seen already, right? In the project that began not too long ago, now we see the results. It's a beautifully lush, green, uh, thriving neighborhood, a village. Plus, it becomes a role model for India, where the ministers and administrations from the central government they come down to observe so that they can replicate something similar in. The practitioners of these contemplative heartfulness practices our bedrock, the foundation, is spirituality. Be you a pharmacist or a doctor or a farmer or just a simple housewife, nothing stops us from remaining in touch with our hearts and the heart that is in tune with divinity in an authentic way. See. While I'm taking food, for example, externally it seems I'm eating, and no doubt, but at the same time, my attention should be inward, remaining grateful for the food that I receive. When I'm about to go to sleep, and in order for me to make my sleep productive and more restful, I simply connect myself and make a suggestion that I am resting in love of the divine, or I'm resting in the lap of God, or I'm resting in the lap of my mother and go to sleep. Just an idea. It's like a switch that you flick on to create a light in the room, like that. To create that awareness, I begin with this suggestion that all through the night I will be in osmosis with the divinity. So even sleep becomes productive that way. When I wake up, meditate. So this is a cycle. Everyone in our community, especially, they go through this cycle, some more intensely, some less, some periodically, but that's okay. Idea is to transform ourselves at our own pace, evolve ourselves at our own pace. So, and we would like to create many such oases, and that's why I'm here. I was told that one beautiful place not too far from here is waiting to host such a spiritual village under a family called Dada, and one more site which is one Source Avenue or Source Road, not too far from here, but unfortunately because of my jet lag I couldn't go, and my apologies to the gift giver. So we can have many such, I would say, centers of light and love across the globe. And slowly, I think it's happening one heart at a time. Thank you.
Thank you, Daaji. One heart at a time, and nothing will stop us. Another question. Um, in these challenging times marked by disconnection, division, and conflict, how can we promote transformation, hope, and connection in our communities, especially when people are resistant to listening, slowing down, and meditating?
Observation and my own personal experience shows that it's very difficult to transform anyone, including personal self. When I make a ambitious call for myself that I would like to transform myself and become better and better with certain spiritual practices, certain contemplative practices, a very healthy way of life. But how many of us, though despite of having such a vision, are able to transform ourselves? When we are not able to transform ourselves rapidly, how in the world are we going to change the others? You see, at what rate? If not in Portugal, but many other countries perhaps. Here, the divorce rate may be at a lesser rate than France or perhaps or Britain or Denmark or United States. And what are these divorces? Painful breakup. It's because both are not in resonance. Both one is not willing to change, and other is also not willing to change. That means to change so that one can adjust with each other. And since we fail with this adjustment, the relationship breaks up. So, to put it very simply, I think we should stop dreaming of changing others. We learn it at home also. When we tell our children, please do it this way, they don't listen. Sometimes they do listen. We have to become the example of what we represent. Even bacteria are better. You see, the globe went through COVID, right? And how these viruses, they were mutating when they were transforming themselves to survive longer and become more effective with their life. They think we are smart or they are smart. If they can adjust the external environment and thrive and live longer, a mere virus without a brain, we, the human being with brain as well as the heart, but both are at war with each other. Mind says something and heart says something else. And we keep fighting within ourselves. There's a war within ourselves only. Forget the wars outside. The war is within. First, create that harmony between head and the heart. Then something magical can happen. When I'm in harmony, then I can remain in harmony with others. If I'm restless, other person is also restless, there will be noise.
Thank you. So beginning within and difficulty of transforming ourselves before we can even imagine transforming others. A third question, could you explain the origin and significance of transmission in heartfulness meditation?
So I had to first share with you what transmission is in the first place. Transmission, like meditation, these two words have been loosely translated from the original Sanskrit word. Transmission is the best word, though, that comes closest to the original Sanskrit word called pranahuti. Means the energy of the soul that is being transmitted from the giver and the receiver receives it. Transmission simply means you are transmitting. Even TV transmission is there, radio transmission is there, our cell phone transmission is there, but it is at a different level. In meditation, simply put, the transmission is of the divine energy from the heart of the giver to the receiver. Simply put, like that. See. What does it do? It becomes the vehicle of our consciousness. When the giver sets in this transmission into action and touches the awareness of the receiver, depending upon from what level it was transmitted, it will carry the awareness of the receiver at par with that of the giver. That means both are resonating at the same time. If I am sad and you must have seen it in family, especially and with friends, that when your friend comes to your home or calls you over the phone, you can feel, you can feel those vibrations, the mood, the state of mind. How do you know that? It is being transmitted. The inner condition is transmitted, and you are able to feel that. If someone is really joyful, that joy is also being transmitted. Likewise, the spiritual wealth can also be transmitted from one person to another. It can be shared. To understand it further, I'll give you one more example of nutrition. We have this physical body. We maintain our health at a physical level. Almost all of us are working at the maintenance of physical health. Exercising is number one. Number two is taking right food, right diet, balanced diet rather. There is another level of nutrition at a mental level. We call it mental education, mental enrichment. For that, we educate ourselves, we contemplate. There is yet another level at the heart, emotional level. We get into relationships, affection, kindness, compassion, love blooms in such environment where there is love. That fulfills our emotional being. How can one nourish the soul, the spiritual entity that is within us? And that purpose is served by this pranahuti that we receive during meditation. And that's why after every meditation, most of us would feel a shift in consciousness. You'll feel lighter, you'll feel more at ease, you'll feel calmer, peaceful, drawn inside, you'll feel more centered. And that is all because of this pranahuti we call transmission in English. Since we are talking how in translation things gets changed a bit little. Meditation is defined as a process wherein the mind is focused on one object. In Sanskrit, dhyan means to go beyond the mind. And what is it? What what is meant by going beyond mind means the very function of the mind is transcended, meaning the thoughts. It transcends the thoughts. The English dictionary says it's you're focused. In focus, there's one single pointed idea or a thought. You're not transcending. So to me, it's, but these are all just theoretical headaches. Dhyan, if you split this word, it Sanskrit word, di plus yan. Di in Sanskrit means the ultimate wisdom, ultimate truth. Yan means a vehicle or the process. Vehicle or the process through which one attains that ultimate wisdom or the ultimate truth is called dhyan. So this is a bit on origin of these two fundamental words, pranahuti and dhyan. Dhyan becomes effective only when there is pranahuti. There are many systems offering meditations. They make you focus on breath, on your nose tips, on your navel, or some people focus on the candle outside themselves, or keep chanting. But in all this, the attention is outward. Even though you are thinking of something, it is still outside the center of your being. Just as we have sense, there are sense objects and there are senses that perceives. Senses can understand the objects, but objects cannot understand the senses. You get that? The next one, mind understands the senses, but the senses, my nose cannot understand my mind. My tongue cannot understand my mind, but my mind understands the tongue and my nose. My intellect can understand the mind, but my mind cannot understand my intellect. My consciousness understands my intellect and everything else, but none of them can understand my consciousness. And so on and so forth. As we go inward from outside to inside and further inside and further inside and further inside, you're moving towards the center of your being. So, in that context, intellectualizing or thinking or sensing, they're outside my being, the very center of it. In transcendental meditation, especially, they talk of Aham Brahmasmi. Is there any TM person here? Anyway, what does that mean? Aham Brahmasmi means I am Brahm, meaning I am the ultimate. This is what they recite and keep on reinforcing this idea that I am the ultimate, I am the ultimate, I am the ultimate. This has multiple problems. Thinking, oh, I'm the ultimate. I would say, what an ego you have, say. And you keep on reciting, it doesn't become a dhyan because you're still busy with recitation. It's not even a thought, it's not even a feeling, it's not even a state of being. Anyway, so origin of many things needs our serious attention, including simple words. History shows how simple words are twisted over the years. And that's a tragedy, actually. I will not go in more detail because a lot of Sanskrit is involved, but some English words they have been changed. The meanings have changed in the last few decades. And all of us know one good word, gay. In 60s, the word gay means what? I'm so happy. Today, it has a different meaning. So over the decades, over centuries, over millennia, the meanings of the words also keeps changing. See. But it helps us to understand the original meaning, to understand the deep psychology behind each word.
Couple more questions. One more.
It's up to our friends here, or we'll take one more question.
Okay, so it will be one from me. If that's okay. Which is, who would like to ask the question to Daaji?
I would like to know, how can I learn to forgive myself more once I can feel so much in love with everyone around me, but sometimes I cannot understand how I can feel so far from that.
In heartfulness, we have a process called cleaning and prayer. There are two aspects also. Besides meditation, there's a process called cleaning, and there are many trainers here in Portugal. You can contact either Maria or Vasco. These trainers can help one clean this emotional baggage, the fear, loss of love, feeling of guilt, so many things. They can help us dissolve these bonds that tortures us all the time. Prayer is to the ultimate. We don't know the ultimate. Nevertheless, prayer is offered without any address. We don't know, but it will reach the right address. In this prayer, we say the 4-line prayer, but our attitude at the moment of prayer is very special. For example, when I want to offer my prayer for forgiveness for the things that I have done knowingly or unknowingly, which is not conducive to my spiritual life, I identify that moment and say, okay, I'm sorry. Lord, help me get over this. But I promise myself that I will not repeat again. Firm resolution is needed that I will not repeat again. You can make thousands of mistakes, but don't repeat them.
Thank you.
So thank you, Daaji, for the deepness and profoundness of the gifts you gave us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. You have a beautiful community here, and I pray that there will be many more craving hearts coming together here in Portugal and make a very light community full of love. Thank you.